I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm John Burton.
We are PopCulturists, and this is E3PopC, the PopCulturists.com coverage of the E3 Electronic Entertainment Expo. We've talked about EA. This is the second one for the day. Don't throw up gang signs, that's dangerous.
We are not affiliated with any games.
So, second of the conferences today was Bethesda, which
Made up word.
kicked off. Yeah, see, explain that.
I'm like, everybody's like, Bethesda. I'm like, what? Bethesda? What? That's not even a word. Everyone's like, with confidence, Bethesda. Apparently, they make the Elder Scroll games.
Yeah,
And other things since 1989.
But one thing they're making now, which is something that we did talk about on the show previously,
Yes.
Quake.
You had predictions there, and they were correct.
Bing! So they've announced that Quake Cake Champions. They've announced Cake Champion though. Quake Champions will be coming exclusively to the PC.
Heck.
They sort of showed the boot up screen cinematic.
Yeah, their show was amazing. They had this screen. The screen came down the stage, and all the sides were lit, and everything projected onto the roof, and like pixels. Yeah, and then the boot up screen.
Like
it
the
had
DOS,
a whole lot of games listed. Doom 4.
Yeah, and they showed there's a bit of an Easter egg there. They had Wolfenstein: The New Order, Wolfenstein: The New Blood, Wolfenstein: New Colossus, with no date.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But then they jumped in straight off the bat with Quake. It is a competitive multiplayer, PC only, arena combat. It's everything you love about Quake coming back onto with a PC with no locked-in frame rates. If you're a PC person and you love like shooters, this is one for you. It does appear to be a little bit more down the lines of a hero shooter, heading into the Overwatch sort of stuff, but it's looking pretty.
But it's all like it's just competitive multiplayer, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's id Software's back to do this as well. They've just finished Doom.
And the guy who came out, I didn't catch his name, but he said that he was one of the
producers,
code designers on the original game 20 years ago.
Yeah. What else have we got? So, as someone that doesn't play a lot on PC, Quake Champions is not in it for me. No mention of a release date, though. Next up, we talked about Elder Scrolls. But mostly in terms of Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the strategy card game. Showed a little bit of gameplay, and they also mentioned that it will be coming to Mac, iPad, Mac, iOS, and Android.
That's correct.
But it is available on PC currently. I don't know anyone that plays it. That doesn't mean anything. Next, what got me back into it was talking about Fallout. They've talked about the Fallout shelter has sold 15 million copies on I believe it's on iOS and Android. That's huge. Ah, so good. And they also talked about
4 also had a whole lot of DLC stuff.
So they previously have talked about the season pass when they had to jack the price up because they're saying what they're making is huge. They announced 3 different DLCs. One called Contraptions, which comes out next week, and it's it's a bit more things to help you build your settlements. Sort of you can conveyor belts, switches, paths, elevators, like
gun racks, armor racks, things to display all the weapons you've collected.
It's going to be nice and good. Second, coming out in July is Vault Tech.
Yeah, so that means you can build your own vaults.
That's correct. So one of the biggest things, one of the big key points of the Fallout games is the vault, which is the underground settlement that you live in, and you escape from it and go into the world. You can build your own. You can create your own experiments on dwellers. They come in and do what they need. So it's essentially Fallout Shelter, but bigger and better. And
they also noted that there's a slight campaigns to it as well.
Yes, there is a bit of story to it.
And then comes out in July.
Correct. And then in August, we have Nuka World. Now, which I wasn't aware of, but they did find the term Nuka World in the code. Some people did a couple of weeks ago. They're like, well, maybe this is a thing. Turns out, totally a thing. So it's essentially an amusement park that was there before the Fallout took place. But it looks they didn't show a lot about that one.
Yeah, it was only like a brief cinematic leading into a postcard. August 2016 is when that happens, and again, it'll be the last bit of story.
They
DLC.
mentioned it will be the last story, last DLC in general for Fallout 4.
Yes.
Which makes sense. They've released, this will be like the 6th or 7th maybe, so
Wow.
it's quite a lot of support.
Now, something that got you very excited, and a lot of people, I'm sure, is Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition.
Rumours are true. They are working on a remastered version of Skyrim. They did talk about how this is what they were working on. They did build this for Xbox. And they brought it on over. They've added a lot of different things. Dynamic lighting, depth of fields, snow shaders, water shaders. It's allowing for mods. They showed a trailer, which you can see at the PopCulturists.com. They showed... the difference,
side-by-side comparisons.
like how
you'd see the original version on PlayStation 3,
Yep.
Xbox One, or PlayStation 3, Xbox
PlayStation 3,
360.
PS3, yep.
And yeah, then to swipe across it, unlike some recent remakes, it actually looks incredible. Like you can see
Batman.
the huge difference there.
A lot of lighting effects, which really, I think they were really sort of helpful.
Environments are reimagined, and it just looks incredible.
They did also give a release date, which is the 28th of October this year.
Well, that's not far away.
It's coming right up to the same day as Titanfall 2. So if that game or wasn't already in danger, they did show that one. Next up, we saw Prey. Now, it was sort of circulating that they would be finally announcing Prey 2. Prey 2 was a game they showed years ago.
In 2009, they said?
Yeah, nothing ever eventuated out of it. But, however, it looks like they've done a rebrand. It looks very interesting. It's sort of based in the year of 2032, or approximate. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
And it was like on a space station where aliens have kind of taken over and there's this weird darkness that comes over them. Yeah. Look pretty good.
They're really interesting. Next up was Doom, where they showed a lot more in regards to SnapMap, which is their their creating tool. So it's a bit more of that, which is kind of cool. They also showed a bit of legacy sort of stuff in terms of this is the new DLC they'll be releasing in the next couple of months.
So the DLC involves 3 new maps, new monsters, new weapons, new armors, new taunts.
Yep.
And it's mind-blowing that it's only been a month since it's come out, and it's like an instant classic, and everybody's like salivating over it.
So as expected, they did talk about Elder Scrolls Online. Apparently there's 7 million people playing this game. I literally know none of them. It's very interesting. One thing they did talk about was One Tamriel, which is they've removed level restrictions.
Yeah.
So if you were playing, you're like level 40, you're like, hey Ryan, come play Elder Scrolls Online.
Can we play together?
I'm like, man, how can we play together? Like, you're really ahead. Like, no, it's cool. Come do it. And like that would be interesting. Great idea.
And that's apparently the first time it's ever been done in MMO.
Which is fascinating. But one thing they did mention, which no one expected. They talked about Bethesda VR. They mentioned that Doom will be playable in VR.
Not only will it be, but it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 will and was playable in VR. Mm-hmm. They mentioned that these will be available in 2017 on the HTC Vive, which makes me sad because I would like to play it on PlayStation VR, which I have ready to go.
And I'm guessing that they've got a deal with HTC that it's never going to come out on.
For me, I think it comes down to PC support. So with the PC, it's much easier to work with. They have to reach rather than.
But surely...
They'd have to create a patch and whatnot for PS4. It might not be as easy.
But surely the next games in the series will be VR compatible.
But...
which is a good sign, I guess.
At the same time, what could happen is PlayStation's conference in the next couple of days. Maybe they could come out and be like, hey, guess what? Fallout 4 is playable on PlayStation VR. Sort of save it to help bring that kicker to PSVR.
Or something.
Maybe.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
But what they did close out the conference with was Dishonored 2. They talked about the release date being November 11, 2016.
Yes.
So very similar to Skyrim. They got the 11/11. With last year, Fallout was November 10.
Christmas hours.
Bethesda, big fans of November. What are some things they talked about, Dylan?
Well, this one, they were heavily focused on the game design of it. They designed a new world. It is called Kanaka, and they're heavily into the art design. The interesting thing is they built this world from the ground up.
Yeah, so a new engine.
The way that they were talking about the culture, the food that they eat, the weather conditions they live in, all these things build the world up from scratch. And they were talking about how when somebody wakes up in the morning, where they go, the linear path that they lead to, what they do for a job, all enforces the way that they've created this Victorian alternate reality. And that looks incredible. Like, they were talking about the Void engine, which creates all the particle effects, and all the level design looks incredible. The gameplay, not so much. I mean, did you play a lot of Dishonored 1?
I've not played any of the Dishonored.
I played a little bit of it when it first came out. Not enough to be too memorable. And the thing about this is it's all about stealth and being an assassin, which doesn't really appeal to me too much. No. It looks not... I don't know. There are some interesting dynamics they've got. They've got like other games, they've got the whip dynamic. There are a whole lot of special things. They had the domino effect where you kind of go into the room and there's alternate ways that you can figure out how to take down enemies. And the domino effect was if, say, I put a spell on you, for example, and stabbed you in the mouth, a lot of stabbing in the mouth, but put the spell on the other people in the room as well, they'd incur the same fate. So that person gets stabbed in the mouth, everybody else in the room does as well. So you can just take one person out to clear the entire room, which was pretty cool. There was a whole lot of different like ghost effects where you can turn into like this smoke.
Shadow and sort of crawl.
Yeah, that's right. Sneak up on people. But the thing that was interesting that I liked was the timepiece thing, where you brought up this timepiece and you could see they had like this ballroom and it had the alternate time when it was originally built and it was all nice.
Yeah, so like go back 30, 40 years or whatever.
Yeah, and then the rundown version of the post-apocalyptic one you're in, and you can kind of see the difference and then see where the enemies are, go back into the past, take out the people there, and then resume back into the present.
I'd be curious on how that works in terms of a storytelling dynamic, because I'm curious on how that benefits.
Well, it might just be that one level, I think, just to try that out. But just the way it's displayed with that kind of half in, half out, I thought was really interesting, rather than just jumping back and forth. Yeah,
speaking of jumping back and forth, you can play as two different characters. You've got Corvo Atano and Emily Caldwin. You can sort of jump between the two. I'm not sure, they didn't explain whether it could be at any time, whether it's certain portions.
Or one campaign and then you play another campaign.
Very interesting. But overall, not a really strong way to end the show.
Well, the gentleman that they had to come out and talk about it was a bit shy, like they said.
Yeah.
And it was, especially with Bethesda's presentation, really starting huge.
Big and bombastic.
And I'm like, wow, if this is what they start with, they're going to end with something massive. And then I thought, well, this couldn't be it, because it's just a bit dying, losing the crowd, except for that one woman who was going nuts.
Woo! Woo!
But they did talk about, they were very adamant about thanking the fans
and the studios that make it.
People that work for it,
yeah.
And they had like the means to give people T-shirts away, have a band. They did make a note of we have drinks and food.
They did. Like in terms of their after show, they were like where they were doing the conference in essentially the room over. They had a massive setup where you could play all the games. You could experience the VR. They have Blink 182 playing. Which they had an interview with, and only Mark talked for some reason. There's a guy with a stein and a chicken and like a big turkey leg. I'm like, that's the place I want to be.
Yeah,
I want to be right there.
I wonder if they give away these turkey legs. But yeah, like it's good to see them all go out, and it wasn't as over the top, kind of smarmy, like pandering. It felt like they knew what they were talking about. They're excited about their products. They're appreciated that they had this massive year. Like they recapped their year before, just to say, not only that we're awesome and we know it, and you guys know it, but we're thankful that
we're thankful that you know it.
You've brought us to this level that the fans have helped. The sales have got us there, and we want to do something bigger for next year. But I don't think, compared to what they were talking about last year, it was as big.
See, last year we had a bit of a kicker because they had Fallout.
Yeah,
they were like, this is the first time they've ever done it. What the hell are they going to do? They're like, hey, you know that Fallout series that you love? There's a new one, and it's coming out in 6 months.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. They kicked the doors in on their first time, and this was the second time around.
But this is still solid. Like, they hit a lot of rumours that people are talking about. In terms of rumours, like, there's no way they'd release a remastered of Skyrim. There's no way they'd bring back Prey 2. Quake, are you kidding me? Yeah. There is no... Oh, my God. This is, like, out of the two conferences, this is by far the better one. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow in terms of when we get Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Sony. It's going to be very, very interesting. And in terms of, this is interesting because with Bethesda, they do have that fan service. They do have all those studios to work with, and they understand where they come from, and they are very appreciative. And I don't know whether the others will be able to do that in the same way. But I loved this conference. It was so good up until that last moment, which really bummed it out. It was solid.
And before we go, can I just say, what did you think about the way that all the information's been doled out? Because everything that everyone predicted has pretty much happened in both of these presentations. So, is it killing it? Does it take the fun out of staying up all night and watching these only to see, tick that one off?
See, the difference for us is we work in the media. So we're constantly keeping up to date with rumours and leaks and everything as they happen. We get the there's press releases that we get, and we sort of... Through what we know, we tend to know things a little bit early.
True.
We don't have any insider information or anything, but we're up to date with how it all goes. So having Quake come out and no one knows,
that was something.
You're like, yes.
If each of these had at least one of those things where nobody knew what it was going to be, that would make it fun. But when it was like, it takes the fun.
Yeah, we're in a tough spot because with what we do, we know these things. Now, a couple of years ago when I didn't work in this industry, like E3 was insane. Like, what? Who? But knowing stuff didn't always take away the spoilers. Like when because it's with Bethesda especially, like what was quote unquote rumored seemed too good to be true. There was no way, like, why would they remake Skyrim? It makes no sense. And they did it, and it's amazing. And I nearly cried. I got a message from Josh. He cried. I can't wait to get my hands on that and play it again. I loved that game. Absolutely loved that game.
You know what else we can't wait for? Tomorrow's conferences.
Day 2. So as I mentioned, Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Sony. Big stuff. I have work tomorrow, so I may not be able to have the discussion. It'll be with you, more than likely you and Josh. We'll be getting up in the middle of the night to watch Microsoft and Ubisoft, and hopefully I'll be watching Sony at work. I can't wait.
Check out more of our coverage at thepopculturist.com and follow us.
Follow us on Twitter at THPopCulturists. We'll be live streaming every conference that we get our hands on. We'll be using the hashtag E3PopC. So if you want to follow us on everything we have to say there. Can we go to bed now? I'm really tired.
Nap time.
It's been a long day. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Dylan Burton.
For all your E3 coverage, keep it popculturist.com.